Hello, I'm Keith Spera from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Welcome to Let's Talk. My guest today was born on July 11th, 1932, during the administration of Herbert Hoover. As an 11-year-old saxophonist, he filled in for New Orleans musicians off fighting in World War II. 80 years later, he's still playing saxophone and clarinet. Along the way, he's backed everyone from Aretha Franklin to Lionel Hampton. He's now the elder statesman of the Preservation Hall Jazz Band and one of the most respected and beloved musicians in town. He is the one and only Charlie Gabriel. Mr. Charlie, thank you for being here.
Fine, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, I'm doing good.
Oh, great to see you.
You too, you too.
Yeah.
So you're about to turn 91 and you're still playing music, still out there doing gigs.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's to keep me energized. It's to keep me young in the sense of the word. Mm-hmm. It's about the easiest thing I can do.
Is it?
Yeah, playing music. It keeps me alert of what is going on. It's like a fresh breath air all the time to me. Every time I pick up my horn or something and think of a song to play or something, it just energizes me. It's a wonderful feeling.
Well, you played, yeah, because you still play out at Jazz Fest every year. I mean,
yeah.
It's hot out there, it's dusty, but you don't mind. You
don't mind it at all, as long as I'm playing. Yeah.
Now, you've cut back on your traveling. You don't travel as much, right?
Yeah, I had to stop that. It was taking a toll on my tired getting in and out of the suitcase. You know, that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. and getting to the flight, you know, a lot of time and work, a lot of effort in that.
Sure.
I can't do all that no more.
Right. It's when you tour, it's not just about playing music. It's about all the traveling. That's a big part of it.
That goes along with it.
Yeah.
Playing the music is the easy part, but you got to get there.
Do you still rehearse? Do you still practice every day?
No, I don't practice, but what I do, I play my horn every day. If I something that I want to look into, musically speaking, then I'll go ahead and look at it and analyze it and maybe play it a while. It's inspired me to hear new things too. You know, I like to keep my head up of a lot of stuff. Because what I already know, I like to embellish that too. But I like to always be looking forward because the sweetest sound is yet to be heard in some child's head right now.
The sweetest sound is yet to be heard in some.
Because it might be wrapped up in some child's head right now. We haven't even heard it yet. See, music don't stop once you get into the atmosphere. It's keep on moving.
So you like to keep up still on what's happening.
On what's going on. Yeah.
Which is amazing because I think a lot of people, you know, once they get to, 90, maybe think, okay, I know all I need to know.
Oh, no, you know.
No?
It's a learning experience. It's a learning experience until you close your eye forever. You have to keep that in mind because the youngest person come up and start singing something you never heard before, and you be, what is that? You know, locked up in their head until they bring it out to you, but you already know what you know.
And so, like you said, though, you still like to come up with new sounds, new compositions. You still writing music?
Why, sure, yeah, I'm still writing.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you think your playing now compares to your playing when you were a younger man? Do you think you're better at some things, not as good at some? How does it compare?
You'll get better at some of the things that you do as you grow older, but the early part of your life when you're just learning all of that thing, that put the foundation for you to move forward. See, so you can't close your ears on anything. You're always looking to learn, always want to hear something that you never heard before and maybe become a part of it, and then you can also embellish it. See, and you can express a lot of things that you learned along the way from those that are putting out new stuff. You don't want to fall behind and not realize that there's still beautiful sound yet to be heard.
We've talked about this before, how one of the things you learn as you become an older musician is not just what to play, but what not to play. When to let there be some space in the music. Is that something?
Well, space in the music is a part of the music. See, if you keep playing all the time and don't give no space for the music to breathe, you defeat your own purpose. You don't want to defeat your own purpose, so you play some and you leave space for the music to rest and breathe, and the music, it become alive, you know? So you got to keep that in mind when you're playing. You just keep and like a person talking, never stop breathing.
So yeah, it's not about playing all the notes. It's about playing the right notes.
The right note. I heard that said once before by Dizzy Gillespie said about Miles Davis. He said, "Man, I play all them notes, but Miles, he select different notes to play." In other words, Miles Davis didn't play a whole lot of notes, but he played the right notes.
You played the right notes. That's what's important. You put out a record in 2022. The record is called 89. That was the how old you were when you recorded it. So you were a much younger guy when you made this record.
I'm much younger. 89.
Much younger when you made this record, 89. And this incredibly, all the years you've been playing, all you've done, this was the first time that like a big record company put out a record with your name out front. First time. What do you like about this record, the stuff that's on here? I mean, you've got some songs that you've been playing for 60, 70 years probably at this point.
Well, what songs are on there?
Memories of You and Chelsea Bridge, I'm Confessing, Stardust, great song. I mean,
wonderful. But each song on that record there has a story within itself. It's a part of who I am as a person because I have experienced so many things from some of them songs that I played on that record. Like for instance, Stardust, I recall when I was a younger man playing Stardust, playing the voice and thing with my brothers and my father, my uncle played the piano and I played the clarinet and so on and forth. So it had a meaning to me, and it did something to me that I did go through each one of them songs. They all represent something that relate to my life as a person.
I think it's a beautiful record. It was produced, I think, by Ben Jaffe at Preservation Hall.
Ben Jaffe is a wonderful person. We would be sitting around sometime, just me and him talking, and playing the horn. And we thought playing some of these songs. Ben would call one, and I'll play it. I'll call one, and he plays. So we just have fun with it.
Well, it's great that you were able to record, have some of your stuff now, this record of your music that'll live forever, I mean, it's out there forever.
That Yellow Moon is Ben Jaffe's song.
The song Yellow Moon on the record, yeah?
Yeah, Ben was down in, I don't know where he was at, I think he must have been in the basement somewhere, and he was playing that guitar. I said, Ben, I like that. So we flew around there, and we had a ball getting that together. I love that Yellow Moon. He played many times behind some dancers, ballet dancers, danced on that Yellow Moon. I forgot what group that was, but it was really inspiring to me.
No, it's a really lovely record. It's a really nice jazz record. You talked about how the songs mean something to you. Some of these songs go back to
some of my childhood days. I don't know all the songs on there, but and relate to some of the things that I have experienced in my life. And I like to reminisce on some of that because I'm got old now.
You got old. Not old at heart. You're still very young at heart. Very young, very young. Well, let's talk about that for a little bit, your early years. You grew up in the 6th Ward, right?
That's right.
And you heard, in those days, you heard music on the streets. You heard people playing in the parades and stuff. What were you hearing?
Well, it was nothing to see 2 or 3 guys walking down the street. I was from the 6th Ward. I was on Contour in Galveston, and they'd be singing duets on the street. This ordinary people. So music was all over the city, and everyone had a piano in the front room. So tell where you'll be at, you can hear some music. And this is a wonderful experience for me to grow up into that type of environment.
And your dad played music as well?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm the 4th generation of Gabriel. My grandfather played music, see, and I'm the 3rd generation. And my father, and then I am. When I had 5 brothers, 5 sisters, and they all played music. Now, my dad has had 3 sisters, and they played music, and he had 2 brothers, and they played music. So I couldn't get away from it if I wanted to.
So that's right. You were one of 11 kids.
I'm one of 11.
And everybody played music?
Not everyone. Let me see.
Most played music.
Most of them played music. All my brothers played, And I had one sister played the piano. Yeah, so they had about 6 of us playing,
Okay.
6 or 7.
How did you gravitate to the saxophone? How did that end up being?
Well, to play the saxophone, you have to learn the clarinet. The clarinet is the mother instrument, one reed on the mouthpiece. So the saxophone had one reed on the mouthpiece. So you learn the clarinet, you automatically play the saxophone. You have to take no lesson to play the saxophone because the clarinet is the mother instrument. But if you play saxophone, you have to learn how to play the clarinet. See?
Right.
And so you don't want to start backwards.
Right.
You learn the clarinet. You don't have to take no lesson to play the saxophone because the clarinet is built in a way when you play in a low register, you play like an E-flat alto. When you touch the register, you play like a B-flat tenor sax. So you play alto and tenor on the clarinet. So that's the foundation of playing a single reed instrument, which would be the saxophone.
Right. So the clarinet's the gateway. It starts you off on down the road.
You
Right.
say it's the mother instrument.
The mother instrument. When you got, like I said in the intro, you got some of your earliest gigs as a boy because during World War II, because a lot of the grown-up musicians had gone off to fight. So you were substituting for those guys,
yes,
right?
That is true. I started out on the Albert system clarinet. There wasn't a band. Then later on, they invented the BAM system. So when the war was going on, they had no one to play with some of these older guys that was left behind, that was too old to go to war. So they called my dad. Manny, we got a job. I said, no, I can't take. You take the kids. So that gave me an opportunity to play with all the older musicians that were too old to be in the war, but still were playing music around the universe. So I had a chance to play with T-Bar Renee, Jim Robinson, Georgia Lud, and just started naming Jimmy Little, you know.
So you had the opportunity to play with guys that were kind of masters of the old New Orleans jazz
That's
songs.
right.
So you learned from the masters.
That's
basically.
right.
Yeah.
Every one of them took me, and they just by the hand and taught me so much. I was a blessed person to be in that type of environment at such a young age. See?
Oh,
And
yeah.
So my dad sent me with all of them. Whatever called me, and he couldn't play this. He take the kid. So I was the kid.
You were the kid. Well, now you have an interesting route that you followed to end up back at Preservation Hall, because as a teenager you moved with your family to Detroit, and you spent the next 60 years in Detroit. But it ended up being a good place for you to play, right? I mean, you found
it was good for me being in Detroit, but every year, my dad told me every year he brought me back to New Orleans so I can play with the musician in New Orleans at Preservation Hall. And I used to come back every year. And I used to get so angry with my dad because I wanted to do other things, but he said, no, you're going to New Orleans.
He made you come to New Orleans.
Oh, he took me, no, I had no say-so at that.
And you weren't happy about it. You wanted to make it.
You see, my dad was kind of demanding. His father was a trumpet player too. That probably taught him the same way. And he left New Orleans, but his body left New Orleans. His mind and soul and his music stayed with him wherever he goes. So they brought all the New Orleans music to Detroit and started a Detroit band playing New Orleans tradition of music.
Okay. Well, in Detroit, you got a gig pretty early on playing with, I think, Lionel Hampton's band,
Lionel
right?
Hampton band. I was fortunate to get into Lionel Hampton band early. I was about 17 years old at that time.
Wow.
Hampton liked me and featured me on a couple of things, so I was very, very fortunate to meet the bass player. I can't think of his name right now.
Well, the bass, but Charles Mingus was in that band, right?
Yeah, Charles Mingus was the bass player.
Well, that's pretty good. You get to play alongside Mingus, one of the great jazz bass players.
And Fat Novell, we call him Fat Girl. Fat Novell, they call him Fat Girl, was a wonderful trumpet player. He came out of Cab Calloway band, I think. You know, so I had an opportunity to get with a different class of musicians playing a different style of music. See. And they were playing at that time, bebop were coming in. See, so before the bebop came, they were playing swing like Benny Goodman. It was swing music. Benny Goodman, Willie Herman, and all of that stuff. It was swing music. Then the bebop came in and changed the concept of the music. So that's how that went.
Well, and that being able to play with different types of musicians has served you well. You played with Aretha Franklin. You toured in her band for a while?
Yes, I toured. I got in the Aretha Franklin band, and we toured around the country, around the world, say, because we were known in the United States. We toured all over the world with Aretha Franklin band. I got in that band, and I was playing a different instrument then. I played baritone with Aretha Franklin, recording on baritone with Aretha Franklin. So, but other than that, everything worked out pretty good for me.
Sure.
Everyone have helped me to become who I am today.
How was she to work for? How was she as a band
Aretha
leader?
Franklin is an excellent musician herself.
Mm-hmm.
She's a wonderful person, and she knew what she wanted to hear from the musician in the band. And she pulled out a chart, and we started playing it, and if she didn't like certain notes, that whatever instrument is playing, she'd go to the piano and she'd play, now I want you to change that note, and Bobby so and so and so. She was that type of musician. You know, wonderful position. I have never seen her angry. So, and there were times that she could have gotten angry. Mm-hmm. But I always say that she had a way how to solve all kind of problems without being disturbed about it. A wonderful person to work for.
Which sounds like she had a very sharp ear. She could hear a bad note. You couldn't get away with a bad note.
Yeah, she can hear everything. I didn't know she could sing opera though.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, she sang opera too, man. I didn't know that she had that type of ability to sing opera. She's a wonderful person.
What's one of, you've traveled all over the world. What are some of your favorite places around the world?
Well, quite naturally, I like France. I love France. I like Singapore. I like Nice.
Nice, yeah, in France. Yeah.
I like Vienna. I like everywhere. Everywhere I play, I had such a wonderful time meeting all the different people that I have met, and they're changing some of the ideas on music and things together. And it just enhanced me to become who I am today. So many people have helped me as a person. And your personality and who you are goes into your music, and when you play your music, it comes out to the public. See, it's such a wonderful thing to meet so many people.
Well, yeah, you kind of are you're a translator for all the things you've heard that has gone into you. You take it in, interpret it, and it comes out in your music. And at this point, you've had so many experiences and played with so many people that
everyone have helped you.
You got a call after Hurricane Katrina. You were still living up in Detroit. You got a call from Ben at Preservation Hall. Yeah. They needed some musicians. A lot of the musicians that played with Preservation Hall had moved out of town after the storm. They needed some folks. You got a call inviting you to come back to New Orleans and be a part of the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Did that idea seem like a good one to you at the
It couldn't have been a greater call. With the foundation who I am, I'm a New Orleanian, and to welcome back at home at such a high level, what a great gift. I just took it, came on in, and I'm here and happy.
Here and happy. Well, now you had to convince Marcia, your wife, to come down, right? She wasn't sold originally.
Well, my wife come from Detroit. She's a Detroiter, and she thought it'd be a big transition to make a move from Detroit to come down, start all over again.
Right.
So, but that was no problem. She came with me, but I had to convince her. I had to ask her a couple of times to go with me to New Orleans. So in the process of convincing her to come to New Orleans, I wrote a song for her to encourage her to come to New Orleans. Then she came down. She made a mistake. She came down first time to visit me, and then she said, "Oh, I can live here." I said, "Be careful."
Be careful what you wish for.
That's right.
And it must have been a pretty good song you wrote if that helped convince her, huh?
Wonderful song I wrote for her. She liked it.
Obviously, she moved down here. So.
Yeah,
with Preservation Hall, you've done all kinds of interesting things. Traveled a lot, worked with everybody from the Foo Fighters to you actually played with the King of Thailand. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, that was a wonderful experience. The Preservation Band was over in Thailand, and we played with the King. But we had recorded all of the King music. King was a musician himself, played trumpet, and he gave all his music to Ben Jappy. I don't know, I guess he gave the music to Ben Jappy, but whatever it was, Ben Jappy handled it. And we recorded all the music for the King, because that's what the King wanted, the Preservation Hall Band to play his music, so Ben Jappy took care of that for him.
That's when you're the king of a country, I guess you can make people listen to your music. You're like, oh, you got a built-in audience. Like, look at this. Yeah, no, and you know, again, working with people like Foo Fighters and all these much younger rock musicians and other types of musicians, you're open to all that. You don't have to just play jazz. I mean, you want to play everything. Huh?
Well, music is different styles of music. So when I talk about music, I'm trying to cover all the different styles that I'm aware of, because all of the music, ain't no bad music, just tasteful sometimes to you at different given time, but it ain't bad. So that's the most important thing you have to keep in mind. It ain't bad music, it just might not please you at that moment, be distasteful to you, but the next day you might not feel that way. Oh, I love that. You know, you might be missed it because of the mood that you was in at that given time.
Right. It suits your mood. You're very well known for your chess abilities. You're a big chess player. Yeah. You were on the cover of, was it Chess Life magazine, or one of the big magazines?
Yeah.
What is it about chess that appeals to you so much?
I don't know. My brother years ago taught me how to play chess. I might have been around 14 or 15 years old. And it was a game that, it's a thinking game, and it's a challenge of your mind to try it out, beat the other guy on the board. So that it got to be just a passion for me that made me feel good and relax me, and it also energized me too to become better chess player, because they got a lot of good chess players. I want to tell you one story. One time, the Preservation Hall Band was in Cuba, and they band, and then all of them had the cameras on everything, following me all around, trying to find someone in Cuba to play chess with me. And they did all the cameras and everything, so they found this old guy sitting in under the thing playing chess. So they waited and they set me down and play with that guy. He beat me so fast.
Really?
I was sitting down there a good 10 minutes, whooped the daylights out of me. But I just loved the game, though.
An old guy. He was an old guy?
Yeah, he was an old guy.
He was an old guy.
But he knew so much about the game. Oh, man. So I enjoy, win or lose, I enjoy the game.
You, I heard you played against John Batiste, the musician, backstage at a festival?
Well, yeah, John and I had a competition in the chess game, but I won't say anything about it, but he not on my level on that.
Not on your level, huh?
He wasn't. No, I handled John Batiste, but so many people handled me, so you can't win all of them, and you want to lose all of them.
You handled John Batiste. That's good.
I handled John.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, did you get to play music with him too?
Oh yeah.
And he's pretty good.
Wonderful musician. And he also came down to the hall and played with at the hall several times. And he's just a wonderful person to be with. Yeah, I sure enjoyed his company.
So he's on your level musically, if not chess. Definitely musically. He can hang musically.
Chess is just an outlet for your entertainment. I put it that way. I wouldn't think that I was a good chess player. I play enough chess to entertain myself and win some game and lose some game. I'm not up the level of some of these other people up there. I don't want to give you that idea. I'm not up there.
Well, we've just got a couple minutes left here, but I mean, is there? It seems like people that I know a lot of jazz musicians that play chess. So I think there's definitely a relationship or a certain type of mind. Excels at both those things. Do you see a relationship between chess and jazz? Yeah. Yeah,
they have a good relationship, because actually playing music, you have to study the passes and things that you want to play on your horn. You have to study the chord changes, and then you want to learn how to implement it and everything else. Chess gives you all of that. See, you got to think about what he's going to do to you, at the same time protect yourself, and also try to keep advancing in what you're doing. You know, it's a mind game. It helps you to become a better person too. You get a lot of patience.
And like it's like playing on the bandstand. I mean, you want to do your thing, but you also have to work within the context of what's going on.
Other musicians, they all playing, but we all can play, but we have to play together. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of nothing going on.
Right. There's got to be a certain strategy to it.
We all have to play together. We all have to listen to one another. And when you're playing, you're listening to him, he's listening to you, and he listening to him, he listening. It's a community thing.
Well, as we get to the end here, I mean, you're about to turn 91. You don't seem like you're ready to retire from music anytime soon.
No time soon. I'd like to keep on playing till the great Lord decided to say, well, time, Charlie, stop.
And you still got a little something to offer, though, between now and then, huh?
Yeah, I still have something to offer. Hope I can keep on playing.
Well, like I said, I've heard you recently, and you still sound great. So,
thank you.
You know, the tone you've got, it's just a beautiful thing to hear. So,
thank you.
So I hope you keep on playing for another years.
Whatever it is.
That's it.
Whatever it is, I take that.
And I'll have you back on the show when you turn 100.
I love that too.
All right. Mr. Charlie, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
It's been
keep
great.
Well too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Guys, thank you for watching. I am Keith Spera. This has been Let's Talk. We'll see you next time.